Hey guys, how's it going? So I have two pieces of breaking news considering the Hearing Protection Act, the Short Act, the $0 tax, and all of this. The first one's going to be bad news from the Senate, and the second one, which literally just broke while I was attempting to record my video here, is good news, and it comes from the House. So the bad news is, just a couple hours ago, the Senate did finish voting and has passed the budget reconciliation bill with this $0 tax. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Go back and watch my video I posted yesterday. You'll hear my complete thoughts on that and how that is not a win, and we should not accept that whatsoever. And by the way, I just stopped cutting my customers' lawns to do this video because this is really important. So if you'd like to help support the channel, check out the links down there in the description. So the one big beautiful bill, so-called, even though the good stuff's been stripped out of it for the most part, and there's a bunch of bloat in it, and it's just a mess, did pass on a vote of 51 to 50 just earlier this afternoon. J.D. Vance did come in and broke the tie. However, he did not overrule the parliamentarian. And John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader, did not overrule the parliamentarian. This has been so frustrating because originally there was language to repeal large aspects of the NFA, including removing silencers, suppressors, short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, AOWs. Instead of removing those from the draconian registration, all of the things that go along with the NFA that are completely unconstitutional, they had gone with a compromise for a $0 stamp. Now, $0 would still put you on the registry. That's a big deal. All of the other things that go along with it, as discussed in the previous video. And this was pursuant to a compromise that these gun rights groups right here wrote a letter just a few days ago saying, though not the full repeal, it should have been, there's still an opportunity to use well-established precedent to lower the NFA's unconstitutional excise tax on suppressors and short-barreled rifles, short-barreled firearms, to $0. Now, this allowed, in my opinion, the majority leader and all these rhino Republicans political cover to allow this unelected Democrat parliamentarian to end up ruling over this whole budget bill, especially when it pertains to her rejection of the actual NFA repeal and registration repeal portions of the NFA. Now, some of my viewers have said, hey, this isn't that bad of news because, hey, $200 is $200. Well, look, I know, and it's $200 is a lot of money. However, most of my viewers have come back, and I agree with this, said they would have paid the $200 to not have to register. So this is completely and utterly opposite. I've also talked about the dangers of getting so many people to register with this enticement of it's free, it's free. Americans love free stuff, right? Now they'll get more and more people added to this registry, normalizing the registration process and leading to a slippery slope. Not to mention the fact that if they can lower the tax to $0 here, what's to say when the Democrats come back in power in the Senate, they couldn't raise it up to $200 again? No, they wouldn't do that. They'd go much worse. 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, you name it. And you know the Senate Democrats will do that if they ever get power again. So this is messed up. Now, as far as future lawsuit chances, sure, removing it, taking the tax down to $0, could be a good legal argument in courts, and it could promulgate through the system and maybe eventually get a win based on that. However, statistically, those chances are not good. The Supreme Court just does not take up many Second Amendment cases. It is what it is, and usually even when they do that, it's not an out-and-out victory. Also keep in mind, even with Bruin passed and was one of the biggest wins in the court. However, states such as Michigan passed a whole bunch of gun control in retaliation to Bruin after it passed. So court cases can be great. Fixing stuff in legislation is always a better process. So that's where we were at up until just a couple minutes ago. Now the Senate has passed this bill 51 to 50, with the Republicans voting no were Tillis, Collins, and Paul. Again, J.D. Vance broke the tiebreaker, wouldn't overrule the parliamentarian. Now the bill has to go back to the House. because it's different. The new bill is drastically different than the House passed version. And Representative Andrew Clyde has just announced, and this is breaking news, and this is good news. He says, I just introduced an amendment to the Senate passed budget reconciliation bill to remove the NFA registration requirement for suppressors, SBRs, SBSs, and AOWs. I'm fighting to the very end to get us as many 2A wins and the one big beautiful bill as possible. So there's a new amendment. It's going to take like 4 or 5 Republicans in the House to stand strong and say we will not allow this to pass unless this amendment's included. If that happens, we could end up in what's called a showdown, because the president is demanding this bill get put on his desk in just 3 days, by the 4th of July. If the House passes a different version than the Senate did, that's going to have to be reconciled between the two. We know the parliamentarian has already ruled against removing the NFA provisions, only giving us the $0 tax from the parliamentarian. I still can't believe I've been talking about a parliamentarian here in America. But it could definitely put the Senate in a situation where they would have to overrule the parliamentarian or fire her if the House is refusing to accept this watered down NFA changes, which, again, isn't what we wanted. And I not only don't consider it a win, I consider it a loss. The Senate would have to do something. The Senate can't just send this to the president on their own. The House and them have to come to an agreement, and Clyde is stepping up. So, if you guys are still motivated to be calling people, you're going to want to call your reps at this point. All right, your Republican reps in the House, and tell them, do not pass this budget bill, this reconciliation bill, unless it includes the Andrew Clyde amendment. All right, make sure you're following me on X. I will repost Clyde's tweet so you can read the exact amendment yourself. But that's where we're at. So we were dealt a loss just 2 hours ago in the Senate. Here we go. Now we have at least one representative and hopefully more that are fighting back. I'm trying to stay optimistic right now, although it's very hard. I think the chances of this going through are probably still low. But if you want to try to affect change, get a hold of your House of Representatives rep right now and tell them that the Clyde Amendment must be part of the budget bill. And then we'll see what happens with the House showdown with the Senate and how that may turn out. It could get kind of crazy. And I'm sure there's going to be more developing news on this stuff again soon. All right. Thanks for watching and have a good one.